All right, it's my favorite thing ever, elapsed time. Okay, get ready, because this is going to be just super duper easy if you follow my rules exactly. And that's a very big if, because if you don't, well, I can't promise anything. Okay? So, let's go ahead and set up a problem. So let's say that we have, that we're looking for the time between, let's say 10:57 in the morning to 3:19 in the afternoon. Okay, that's what we're looking for. So I need to know how to figure out that time amount, right? And some of us can look at that and say, oh yeah, that's blah, 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 blah. But some of us, it's a little bit harder, right? For me, that's a little bit harder to just look at and see how much time is between that. So I have a little system that I have used my whole life to figure this out, and I'm going to put that into steps for you on paper. Okay, so let's say step one. So step one is that our strategy, hold on, let's put our strategy for this. Our strategy is a triple T-chart. Not just a single, not just a double. This is a triple T-chart, so it is triple the magic, right? So I'm going to make that really dark just so I see it in my math journal as soon as I flip to this, okay? And so right now, y'all, I need you to do exactly what I'm about to show you every time you do elapsed time. Eventually, and it's probably not going to be this year, right? Eventually, you're going to get to the point where you don't need to make the T-chart because you're going through the steps in your head. But the steps are really, 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 really important that you get down in your on paper first, and then you'll be able to do it in your head. All right? So step one. Step one becomes to make your triple T chart. Make your triple T chart. And guys, keep this, keep these steps handy whenever you're working problems out. This is what your math journal is for, right? So let's go ahead and do that over here. Let's make our triple T chart. So 1, 2, 3 lines, and then we make our T across. Okay, and I'm going to tell you what the headings are for each section. So on either side we have start and end. Start is on the left, end is on the right. That's the first thing, okay? And then we have in the middle hours and minutes. And minutes, okay? Pretty easy, right? So start, end, hours, minutes. So that's our first step, is make that triple T chart with our headings. Let's actually write with headings. With headings. So the headings are what I just told you, the start, end, hours, minutes. Those are headings. Step two, is to put your start time, put your beginning time, under start. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Our beginning time was 10:57, so 10:57 goes right here. All right. Step three, is to add 1 hour at a time until adding another hour would go over your end time, okay? And I'll explain that in just 1 second. So add hours one at a time until adding another hour would go over your end time. So y'all, I'm writing a lot and it's going to be a lot of steps, but it's really not that hard once we actually start doing it. I just want you to have the words to go back to, okay? So let's do that. So 1057, I'm going to put plus 1 HR for hour, okay? Plus 1 hour. If I added an hour to 1057, what would I get to? I would get to 1157, right? 1157. I'm going to put that under my end time. All right? So now, when you're doing this, I'm trying to find a way to just explain it without having to write it down. Whenever you're doing this, your end time becomes your new start time. Okay? So now this is 1157 over here. You see where I'm going with this? So now I'm at 1157, and I'm going to add another hour. Because that would get me to what? 1257. Does 1257 go over this last time? No, so I'm good. 1257. All right, so now 1257 becomes my new start time. Let's add an hour, plus 1 hour. What is 1257 plus an hour? 157. Does that go over this? Does that go over this end time? Nope. So that gets me to 157. We're still all good. Okay? So now, hold on, let me extend my T-chart a little bit. Let's extend the T-chart a little bit. So now I'm at 157. If I add an hour, that will get me to what? 257. Does that go over this right here? No, so I'm good. I can add it. Plus 1 hour gets me to 257. All right. 257 becomes my new start time. All right. What's 257 plus an hour? What does that become? That would be 357. 357 is past 319. Do we see that? That is past 319. I don't want to go past 319. I want to get to 319. So I can't add another hour at this point. So that brings us to step 4. Oh, sorry, got a little blurry for a second. Step 4 is that we are going to, when you can no longer add an hour without going over, you're going to add enough minutes to get to the next hour. Okay? And this may not be needed. Step 4 may not be needed depending on your time, but this time it is. So if the number you get right here for the hours is different from the number you have right here for the hours, then you'll need to do step 4. And I'll explain more about that tomorrow. So I want to add enough minutes to get to the next hour. What's the next hour after 257? What am I going to get to? I'm going to get to 3 o'clock, right? How many more minutes until I get to 3 o'clock? 3 minutes. So I'm going to say plus 3 minutes, and that's going to get me to 3 o'clock. Do you see how I'm putting this in the minutes column now? I'm adding the minutes in the minutes column. This is because eventually I'm going to be adding the hours up and adding the minutes up to see what the elapsed time is. Okay? So now step 5. Step 5 is add enough minutes to get to your end time. Add the minutes to get to your end time. Okay? So, now my new start time becomes what? 3 o'clock. Well, how many minutes to get from 3 o'clock to 3:19? So first I'm going to put 3:19 right here. How many minutes to get from 3 o'clock to 3:19? Plus 19 minutes. Okay? Now, final step is to add up everything. So how many hours did I add? I added 1, 2, 3, 4 hours. So I'm going to put 4 hours. And then how many minutes did I add? What's 19 plus 3? 22. I'm sorry. Yes, 22. 4 hours and 22 minutes. So the reason, let's talk about the reason that we do step 4, okay? So instead of having to figure out how many minutes is it to get from 2:57 to 3:19, well, this is how my brain works, okay? This is why I'm teaching you this way. My brain says, okay, well, how many minutes till I get to 3 o'clock? 3 minutes, and then all I have to do is add 19 more minutes. It's like adding 57 plus 19, and that's, hard to do in your head, other than doing, 0 plus something equals 19, obviously that's 19. So it just becomes easier in your brain if you get to the next hour and then add the rest, okay? If this is confusing to you right now, that is perfectly okay. We will practice it tomorrow and the next day and the next day. So don't stress, all right? Have a good night.